Hello to everyone listening to the Platinum Mask YouTube channel. I'm really excited to, release a new episode, and with me I have Emilya, who's a local DFW creative singer, songwriter, pianist, and R&B artist. And honestly, this was a chat that kind of originally popped up. I know I reached out to her. We're kind of working something out on doing a conversation, and honestly just was able to check out your YouTube channel as well as Spotify and check out some of the creative projects she had going on. And honestly, didn't know some of the music concepts that she kind of brought up in some of her YouTube videos, kind of related to the mixture of R&B and kind of hip-hop and just overall pop. So thank you again, Emilya, for taking out the time today to honestly explain your story on kind of what led you to these projects and what you're kind of excited for moving forward.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So I guess I wanted to originally just kind of ask, where did your, original music passions come from? Did you have family members that were mentoring you into that type of creative side?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was always musical. He played guitar, he sang. He was born in Jamaica, so he grew up there around music, basically, and grew up in the church, so we were always involved in church and worship. And my brother also played clarinet in school, so I basically got that inspiration, I feel like from them at the earliest point I remember. And then I don't remember this, but apparently I just asked if I could start taking piano lessons. So my parents put me in piano, and, when you start an instrument, you kind of hate practicing because you suck at it. But they really pushed me to keep going, and now I'm very grateful that I did stick with it, because so many people are like, man, I wish I stuck with that. But now it's my biggest passion. So I'm glad I definitely stuck with that.
So for coming from my perspective that I guess didn't stick it out, how long, what was the time frame for, the piano? When did you, first start realizing that, you become more confident within your talents with piano?
I initially started when I think I was 6 or 7. It would probably be about 5 years until I personally realized, okay, I have talent, and my parents confirmed it. So I think around then, when you start being able to pick up music quickly, and start playing songs that aren't Mary Had a Little Lamb type stuff. So probably about 5 years into it, I'm okay, I'm actually enjoying doing this and enjoying recitals and stuff like that.
And for 5 years, was it, more about having that family structure that really prepared you in the music? Or was there anything that you had to do mentally or as far as practices? Because I can imagine going 5 years without feeling, extremely confident within your talents. How do you, push yourself forward into something like that?
It's a good question. I think my parents were definitely a huge encouragement. But I think also as a kid, you definitely have to have an outside passion for it. Because, anything your parents tell you to do, you're going to have some resistance against. Even today, my mom's still my biggest supporter, but if she's telling me to do something musically, I'm I don't want to listen. But yeah, I think just apart from that, also having friends that can see oh, she's actually really good at this, was also very helpful for me. And I would say also just the media too, which obviously it wasn't as advanced as it is now. But I was always the kid listening to all the Disney stars and Justin Bieber and like watching High School Musical. And I think I just surrounded myself with like creative outlets that made me like want to do that. I like saw those artists and I was like, I really want to do that. So yeah.
Like on the topic, when you kind of talked about like surrounding yourself with like so many creative spirits, I remember kind of saying, it seemed like you had like, high level mentors with the music. And I was kind of wondering about that were you able to, I guess, like find connections within like the producer world? And like, if so, how did that like emerge?
Yeah. So basically I met most of my connections through college. So I went to Trevecca in Nashville. And a lot of my teachers, I did voice as my major and then songwriting as my minor. And the songwriting teacher was Kim McLean, and she has tons of Grammy nominated songs that she's written. And so kind of those high level people, I have Trevecca to thank for introducing me, or just Nashville in general, because once you meet one person in Nashville, you meet tons of people. So that was the best space for me to like get started with my career. But I also production wise, I started working with a family friend as a manager, and he has a friend who did a lot of my production in the beginning. So that was super helpful. Just learning like my style and where I wanted to go with it. And he's the one that produced Infatuation. So that was my first like real single and really got me started and got the momentum going.
Yeah, I guess like where would you, I guess, officially classify like your style for it? I guess if someone asked, because I remember like, kind of some of the soundtracks where I kind of think one has like more of a kind of a R&B to it and one has maybe a little more pop to it. I guess like how would you kind of classify like what you're trying to do with a song?
That is what I'm figuring out right now, I think, because I have a lot of different genre interests, and trying to figure out how to blend those, I think it's a little difficult, but it's also like nowadays nobody really has to be confined to a genre. I would kind of compare it to like Billie Eilish, because she has like some of her sweet like songs, and then she has some of her darker songs, and I think that's a good comparison. But for me, I would say if I had to classify myself, my root genre would be in like bedroom pop, kind of like the lo-fi R&B, but it still has the like pop aspect to it. But the most of the track is like R&B influence. And then I guess stemming from that subgenre is R&B and pop. So that's why I kind of go with bedroom pop, because it kind of encompasses both of those.
Yeah, because I remembered like when I was seeing that YouTube video of like on your YouTube channel, you talk about the history of bedroom pop. And honestly, like never even heard of that term before, and was able to watch some of the video. For anyone that like doesn't know, like when you're saying like it has the R&B undertones with some parts of pop, like what are the qualities of pop that you would notice within there?
Yeah, so it's a very minute like lane where bedroom pop lies. And I actually did that video for a school project. So I didn't know a ton about it either before that, but I think at its base, it's pop, because I mean, popular music is a wide genre as in itself. Pop music isn't just like pop artists that sorry, I'm getting a call, it's distracting me. But yeah, so I think in its base, it's pop just because of its relatability. And I'd say vocal tone of most of the bedroom pop artists. But within that, there's so many different ways you can take it. There's like I was talking about the lo-fi kind of beats, kind of tracks. You can take it that way, which puts the R&B spin on it. But a lot of bedroom pop artists also take like a jazz approach, which I also really like and want to get into. So it's definitely a like hidden genre, but you hear it more than you think. I think people just don't know how to exactly classify it. Because it actually, when I was doing my research, it started as just a term for like independent artists creating music in their bedrooms, basically. So even like Billie Eilish was considered that because that's how she started. So it's definitely a genre that's still evolving. And there's a lot of variety to it, but yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure.
And you're saying like when it comes to like the people involved with that, so would you like, I guess, characterize like Billie Eilish as the, I guess, like the number one spot when it comes to like that subgenre?
Probably the most popular that came out of that. Yeah, I would say. But there's others. I mean, Rex Orange County is also a popular one. Two of my favorites are Still Woozy and Dreamer Boy. Claro, she's also very popular. She came from that genre. So yeah, there's a lot. But yeah, if we were to still categorize Billie as that genre, yeah, she's definitely at the top.
And like on the idea of when you're kind of saying that you originally made that video as a classroom project, I wanted to ask on, with some of your performances, was that like, did your first performance start like at college, or, when did you, I guess, start, performing in front of, live audiences?
I started technically with just piano, like doing piano recitals growing up. But my first like real show, I would say it was in college. It was probably like a songwriter's night, something like that. I'd have to really think back, but yeah.
And was there, I guess, like coming from the classical piano background and like, regularly performing in front of people, was there any type of, I guess, like transition into performing like your own original soundtracks in front of people and, creating this bedroom pop and like singing in front of people? Was there like any type of transition, or was it, an easy switch to go from piano to that?
Surprisingly easier than I thought it would be. Coming from something I was used to that, sounded nerve-wracking, but honestly, classical piano so much harder than what I do now. Not to discredit like musicians that do this, but it's just a different type of nerves. It's more formal. You have to memorize like 6-page pieces, which is different from performing a song you wrote, just doing chords and singing. So they're each a little nerve-wracking in their own way, but I think I'm way more comfortable doing what I do now than what I was doing. So
yeah, kind of with a transition like that, like how many performances did you do at Trevecca?
On the songwriting side, we usually had a songwriter's night each season, I want to say. So probably it's like 3, 9 maybe. And then, but every Friday as a vocal major, we had vocal seminar. So you don't perform every week, but you do, I think it's like a couple times a month. I could be wrong. My brain is like tuning out college right now. But So I did quite a handful, but my most real feeling show was my senior performance, which is my last performance there. That was like with a full band, and I did the whole stage arrangement, the whole set lineup, and all that. So it's kind of all on me, which was a good way to leave, kind of feeling like, okay, I know how to organize a whole show to a certain degree.
Well, we'll definitely try to get off the topic of college. Yeah, it's giving me not the best flashbacks as well. No, I was gonna like on the performances though. Like, is it? I remember kind of saying on some of like the YouTube videos with you doing some popular covers and it getting solid feedback. And I remember like asking in the past like artists about something like that, where like on I guess like the percentage of how many kind of covers you do versus like original music. And I know some of them kind of say like, oh, covers is like an easy way to get the crowd hyped, and like it, but it's like you also don't want to do too many where they don't actually hear your real music or like what makes you you. So I was kind of wondering on that, like when you did I guess any type of performance, like do you do mostly covers, like very few covers, like how do you try to split it up?
Usually I'm doing a gig, which is usually at a restaurant or hotel or something like that. So they mostly want covers, which I'm comfortable doing, and people definitely love them. And but I do want to get to the point where I have enough original music to do my own show, basically, and not just have to rely on covers. So right now, covers are my majority, probably, and I also want to start integrating those through social media too, because I have a lot for shows, but I know right now, like especially with TikTok and stuff, like it's a great way to get exposure doing covers, just to hook people in, and then once they hear your original music, be like, oh, I like that too. So yeah.
Yeah, like with like when you're kind of mentioning on the idea of wanting to increase your original music, so like was I guess the logistics behind it, was it I guess what the process was, it like were you just taking one song, like writing it out, doing the recording of it and then doing the music video? Like, would you just do all that for one song and then just move on to the next idea? And if so, like, is that typically the norm? Like, how do people do it?
Usually I would have a few things going. But I usually have one that I'm like focused on, if that makes sense. One that I know, like, okay, I want this to be my next release. And once I kind of had the ball really rolling with that one, the others would kind of fall to the back burner. But I always like to try to keep at least maybe like 3 in my mind that I'm working on, so that I can keep the momentum going. Because it's a weird feeling when you release a song and then you're like, okay, I have nothing next to put out. And that adds a little more stress than I like. So I definitely try to have some lined up, a few at a time.
No, it's really, I kind of didn't know that, like, as far as, and kind of like where people are, like when it comes to logistics of music, if they kind of do it one by one or like do it together. Like, was there, when you're kind of talking about like the kind of dealing with stress, was there like ever a high point when it came to, I guess, like dealing with a huge backlog of work, or, what was like the craziest point for you when it came to, I guess, making music?
Honestly, right now is a little crazy for me. Not crazy, but right now I haven't. My last single I released was in July, not counting a Christmas cover I did in December. But right now I have a ton of songs that I'm sitting on and trying to figure out which ones I want to finish first. So it's in those times, it's good to have like people advising you, and also paying attention to what is kind of popular right now. Because some songs I love that I've started writing, but I may have started writing it months ago and it's not relevant sound wise right now. So it's kind of just sorting through the piles of songs. Yeah.
No, I remember kind of saying on the YouTube channel, how much, like, what's the reception for, I guess that, like, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas cover, has it been getting good responses on the YouTube channel?
Honestly, I haven't checked in a while. I think it did. I didn't expect much because I didn't promote it. I didn't post it on the major platforms. I just did SoundCloud and YouTube. I just wanted something out there, but something I didn't really have to stress about getting, tons of hits. So, yeah.
I wonder, like, if like any of that. It's kind of wild to me always with like Christmas music, because I'm kind of like, I've never ever thought of like a huge Christmas hit since like Mariah Carey's, hit, huge single. And I'm like, man, I wonder if like anything can ever come close to that, or if there's some reason that Christmas music is like hard to copy. Like, yeah. So something like that. Do you think like an artist could ever like be able to come kind of near that momentum?
I feel like it'd be crazy if they did. It would definitely get everybody talking, and yeah, that's a challenge. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I could attempt it, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know. Maybe it's just a very niche amount of topics you can cover when it comes to the idea of Christmas. So, but honestly, like, really to just kind of wrap the episode up, I just wanted to ask. You're kind of mentioning on, really now, like with you sitting on just a, large backlog of ideas and work, is there anything, I guess, like kind of upcoming or just through the rest of the year that, you're excited about, or, that you can't wait to jump into?
Yeah. So I actually went to LA in December and went to a camp and did some collaborating with a lot of really good artists and producers. So we have about 5 songs started right now, and that we're working out and pitching some probably and finishing others. And yeah, there's one I'm really excited about. And I've only written a verse so far, but I'm already in love with it. So hopefully maybe that'll be my next one out, and we'll see. Yeah,
for like anyone, I guess, like interested, was that like a camp, or like, what is that, what was like the timeline for that? Expand on it.
Yeah, so it was at Hype Studios in LA. It was like a camp. It was like a songwriting, just creative collaborative camp. And so each day we just broke up into different studio rooms with different artists, writers, and then producers. And so yeah, we switched around each day. So we got to experience kind of writing with different people, and came out with at least, I want to say, like 3 songs a day, 2 or 3 songs a day, which is good. And then they also did some master classes, brought in some well-known people in the area, producers, artists. Brought in Mark Lowe, which I love him, which is really cool to meet him. And it was a really good experience, and definitely recommend it. I was the only one there that wasn't from California, so I flew in, and they were like, "Whoa, why are you here?" And I was like, "I want to be here," and I'm definitely glad I went. I love songwriting camps, because every time I come home, I'm like inspired to keep writing, and it's definitely motivating, which is really good.
No, I'd say that's like, I mean, obviously a huge, networking tool of the amount of artists that you probably gained just in, California alone. So, no, that definitely sounds like you're able to make some contacts and some, really solid ideas from there. And yeah, that, definitely looking forward to just any of the upcoming projects you have. Honestly, just kind of not just your music, but really just kind of some of the insights you had on some of the topics with kind of bedroom pop. No, I definitely can't wait to see what pops up in the YouTube channel, and I definitely urge anyone that's interested to definitely subscribe to it. I wanted to thank you again, Emilya, for taking out the time today to not just kind of expand on. Really just kind of where you've been going for the music, but also just kind of, some of your insights on, kind of with the creative camps, with the collaborations, with finding producers, for anyone, interested in kind of following your footsteps.
Yeah, of course. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
For sure.